Hey, Halted here, and welcome back to the channel. And today, I'm talking about a little story that happened to me back when I was like way younger. And I still haven't got this face cam shit down, so I'm gonna be looking all over the place because I was talking to my mic, but the camera's not my mic. Maybe I should put it behind my camera. That might work pretty well. But back when I was a youngin' running around, enjoying life to its fullest, not knowing anything about money or anything about any concept at all, or what life even consisted of, you know, I used to have a lot of stress to deal with, not financially or worried about my life at all, but because I was worried about my life. Because I used to get sick so much, it was actually absurd. My immune system was the equivalent of a dumpster. Like, no joke, it was so shit. I used to get sick, I'd say, at least once or twice a month. And that's not that bad normally, but when it came to, like, me, that's pretty bad, because when I got sick, like, I had to run out to the hospital, like, pretty much every second time, and, you know, it was basically because I'd get sick, I'd throw up, I'd never stop throwing up, and therefore I would, like, almost die because I'd get dehydrated. My mom would be like, here, have a sip of water, and I'd be like, oh, okay. Oh, like, it was bad. So, I couldn't do shit. But there was one time in particular that I could remember that I was like, okay, I actually might die here, which was scary. But I didn't even really know, like, I was scared, but I didn't realize at the time, like, how bad I was. So that's what this video's about. So there was a time, I think it was around December, back when I was around 9 or 10, I think. And pretty much, I got sick. It was best kind. Been there, done that 1,000 times over. It sucked, but I was like, whatever. Alright, it makes sense. Went out, and I was lying down on the couch for a couple days, just throwing up, barely ate now that I'm thinking about it. Couldn't drink at all because I did anything, and that's the end of it for me. I would be sick, and there was just nothing I could do about it. I didn't get better, like, it took forever. So, it got to a point where my mom asked me, she was like, do you want to go to the hospital? I was like, no, I got this. I got this. Like, I'm good, dog. I'm good. And, so I just laid there, slowly withering away on the couch. But then it got to a point where I was like, yeah, no, never mind. I cannot deal with this shit, because, like, it got to a point where I knew that if I didn't get to the hospital, I'd be, like, dead. So, I was like, yeah, take me to the hospital. This gotta be done right now. So we got up then, got on the way to the hospital, and man, that whole car ride, I'm not even joking. I was like, every time she'd sway, I'd be like, oh, Jesus Christ, I don't know if I can deal with this. I ended up throwing up a couple times in the car. This was after me being sick for like a week already. So, like, let's just be real here. I had minimal water because I was sick, barely anything to eat, and I was sick for like almost a week, I think. Or maybe less time than that, but I was sick for a long time, throwing up constantly. So, we arrive at the hospital. I can't remember walking in there at all, to my knowledge. I just kind of remember getting out of the car, or no, I remember that night, me throwing up, getting at the hospital, then me being in the hospital bed. I can remember the waiting room too, man. I went up to the waiting room, looked like I was dying, man, my face, because I looked in the mirror at the hospital bathroom, because I was throwing up shit ton, and my face, it looked like I wasn't even alive. It looked like I was a goddamn, I'd say vampire, but you can't see vampires in mirrors, shit. I looked like a goddamn zombie. So we get there, I'm up on the counter, like, laid over like this, looking at her, and, my mother was, like, trying to argue because there was, like, 80 other people that day. I don't know why. Everyone just decided to get sick the same day as me. Everyone was at the goddamn, I don't know where I was, actually. There was a lot of adults where I was, and I don't think that's the place I should have been, because I should have been at the Jane. I don't know. Maybe it was because of parents or some shit, but everyone was in the waiting room, apparently. Guess it was flu season or whatever. Anyways, I couldn't get in immediately. I was dying, though, so I mean, shit, like, finally after around 30 or 40 minutes waiting in the waiting room, like, dying, like I said already, dying, I got in there. As soon as I lied down on the bed inside that room, I just threw up again. So I was in there, basically just lying down, throwing up a shit ton until one of the nurses or whatever, doctors could get over to me, and then, they took out the IV, right? Like, they didn't take it, I didn't have one in me. They took out the IV bag and shit, and then they were about to hook it up to me, okay? Now, I never had an IV before. they're actually, if you look at the pros and cons of them, they're actually not too safe nowadays with the type of bacteria that's in hospitals and everything, but as long as they're sterilized, I guess it's okay. But yeah, they whipped that out. I was lying on the bed, I was like, oh shit. But I was like barely conscious at this point, honestly. I was tired, I was sick, I was just like, alright, whatever, we'll get this done with. So, she takes it, she puts the needle in my vein or wherever it needs to go. All I know it was down by my wrist right here. One of these veins right there. The needle was in there, and there was tape and shit over it. And I think it was my wrist anyways. But, like, at that moment, one of my veins collapsed or something. She said something, like, my veins collapsed. Something collapsed. Now, I'm not sure if I started seizing or what, because based on what I saw about veins collapsing and shit, none of this happened to anybody. But basically, something happened when she put the IV in, and all my muscles in my body started to, like, clench up. I started to go into a ball, not even joke. My legs started to clench up. It was not fast either. It was, like, relatively slow. It was like watching, like, I don't know, like a claw or something slowly come up. But it was my whole body just going inwards, like all my muscles tensing. And I was, like, curled up in a ball like that. My legs were up to, like, my goddamn tits, and it was bad. I was in a ball. And I was freaking out at that point because I was like, holy shit, what the hell's happening? I couldn't move. I truly couldn't. And my heart rate was spiking a shit ton because they were monitoring that. She was like, alright, you gotta calm down. I was like, man, like, this is nuts. So, at that point, I was like, god damn, I don't know what to do. But about after a minute of that, it's very vague at this point, man. That was a lot of years ago. And I think I tried to block it out intentionally. But, after that, like, I started to calm down. I was like, okay, I started taking deep breaths. All my muscles started to relax again. I think that's why I was calming down. It only lasted for like a minute or two. And, I just started to lie down again. I was like, okay, alright, I think I can deal with this. And then I was just there. The rest of this shit was very vague. And I'm not sure if I fell asleep or not. I think I might have. But to be honest, I can kind of remember. I'm not sure if this is just me, my brain, adding stuff to the story. Because if you looked at research or some shit, people can recall stories that never even happened. This isn't one of those things because my family members remember it. But, like, I can remember actually having an out-of-body experience. But I'm not sure if that actually happened or not. So take it with a grain of salt. I can remember it, but I don't think it's a real memory. So yeah, after that, I think I woke up and I was just like, god damn, I need to take a piss. So I went in, took the IV bag with me, rocked a nice old piss after all that time, and walked back out, and I was just enjoying my days in the hospital at that point. I threw up a couple more times, but that was it. And got out, and I had to keep that IV thing with me. They took the needles and everything out, but I had to go to school with a needle still in my goddamn arm with shit taped over it. And I had to go back to the hospital then and get it taken out because they didn't want to take it out because they thought I'd need to go back to, because if I threw up again and shit, they didn't know if I'd be, if I'd have to get another IV, and they didn't want to stick another needle in because of the experience before. So, yeah, that was quite the fun experience, I'm not gonna lie. I'll always remember it, or at least to the best of my abilities without my brain creating false memories and shit. That's the best I can remember to my abilities though. So, that was one of those experiences. One. I have quite a few, honestly. There's a couple times where I had to go to the hospital for that shit. But, yeah. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to hear more stories like this, don't forget to leave a like down below if you liked it, and subscribe to the channel. Press that bell to stay notified every time I upload. But yeah, it's been Halted Spark, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.